What's going on, y'all? Welcome to another edition of the Franchise Players Podcast, episode 3. Got my guy Durrel with me.
Blessings.
Got my guy P with me as well.
Welcome back.
Super excited to have you guys back on the show. A lot of things to talk about. And we're going to go ahead and start with the altercation in the Golden State Warriors and the Minnesota Timberwolves game. So an altercation occurred between Klay Thompson and Jaden McDaniels during Tuesday's game between the T-Wolves and Warriors. Draymond Green headlocks Rudy Gobert in defense of his longtime teammate, Klay Thompson. Draymond has been suspended for 5 games as a result and loses out on upwards of $700,000. Has Draymond's antics gone too far? Why or why not? Talk to me.
Man, honestly, I'm a little conflicted on this one. I'll be real, because on one hand, they're professionals, right? The behavior, the composure of a professional, I expect that as such. Being a fan of the game, there's not really room for violence. Like at the end, they were supposed to get our aggression out in a healthy way, in a way that's conducive for the game. It gives the image of the NBA, it gives it a bad look, right? And Draymond has a history. But on the other hand of things, I do understand sticking up for your teammate, and the angle that the video shows him running in and choking Rudy Gobert out, I could see how Draymond would think that his teammate is in serious danger. So I'm a little conflicted on it, honestly, because I do get both sides, but at the same time, violence is not something that obviously we want to inspire kids to do on the basketball court, at home. So how do you feel about it, Durrel?
Yes, pardon me. Yeah, so I think especially as a professional athlete or just as a professional, you just need to have your emotions in check, right? Of course, he was, trying to assist his teammate. Obviously, they're all in the battles together, but as a veteran,
right?
As a veteran and also as a leader of a championship caliber team, he cannot let his emotions take control of him like that, right? So especially the fact that he had Gobert in a chokehold, that could potentially could have ended poorly.
Could have been way worse.
Exactly. So what if Gobert wasn't able to get enough oxygen to his brain, and all of a sudden he got, obviously these are all hypotheticals, but these are all the potential risk that could have happened if that altercation there didn't went any longer.
Right.
Sorry.
No, absolutely. I mean, bro, the way I look at it, I think Draymond's kind of been so far gone for a while now in terms of his emotions, right? Like you said, Durrel. He needs to recognize his own anger issues. There's been many instances. Like the thing is, P, is like I would agree with you wholeheartedly. You know what I mean? Like backing up your teammate. You got to stay loyal to the soil, to your guy, Klay Thompson, who you came into this Golden State team with. You were both drafted by the same franchise. You've won X amount of championships, so on and so forth. But it's not his first blow up. So I feel like at the age he is now, 30, 34, 35, there's no more excuses. Like. Game 3 of the first round of the 2023 playoffs, he stepped on Sabonis' chest and was ejected. Like, what's going on? You feel what I'm saying? That wasn't even like he already had a track record before that, and namely that Game 5 of the finals in 2016, where after hitting LeBron James in the groin, he ended up serving that, or he got ejected in that game, right? Yep. Which ultimately led to the Cavs riding that momentum to the first ever comeback from a 3-1 deficit in the finals. So we've seen so many examples of him losing his cool in high leverage games, and even just games in general, like this Rudy Gobert situation. Steve Kerr, I believe, expressed the fact that he thought Draymond went too far. When your own coach, who has even more championship experience and winning experience than Draymond, right? He won with, I believe, the Bulls, the Spurs, and as a coach with the Golden State Warriors. It's time to kind of put yourself in check. I understand you're backing up your teammate, but in the same token, I think there's definitely a level of animosity that Draymond Green has towards Rudy Gobert. It's not even their first time that they've had like a run-in together. So this got me thinking that I think he kind of just ran up and wanted to, you know, probably for a while he wanted to put his paws on Gobert. I can't even lie to you guys. Like that's how I'm seeing it. 100%. So I just think, man, he's just gone too far once again.
Yeah, 100%. I completely agree with both of you two, man. Especially the fact that obviously he was trying to help out a teammate and also trying to de-escalate everything that was going on in that moment in time. He just took it way too far, right? Draymond, as wise as he is, he should have known that his history will obviously play a part in whatever decision the NBA makes in that moment in time, right? So to Moose's point, stomping on Sabonis' chest, kicking Steven Adams in the groin.
Bro, it's just silly, bro.
You know, hitting LeBron in the groin in the 2015 finals and so on and so forth. So Draymond has had a track record. So as a player with history, aggressive history like that, you have to conduct yourself in the right manner, especially the fact that you are one of the most instrumental pieces in the Golden State offense and defense, right? So now that obviously especially when it comes to the West, in terms of standings, like from 1 to the 8th spot, man, it could be like 2 or 3 games, and these Facts. 5 games that he's been suspended for, this could be it for the Golden State Warriors, because now they don't really have that force in the paint to lock down some of the bigs that the NBA has to offer, right? So he is also now potentially at risk of putting the Golden State season at bay.
They could lose home court advantage 100%, for this.
And home court in the West is a major thing.
You know what? The deeper I think about this subject, guys, you know, you're absolutely right, Durrel Moose, about him keeping his emotions in check. But when I think about Draymond, you know, from good and bad lighting, from both highs in his career and lows in his career, I realized that one of the virtues, one of the strengths they're getting with a player like Draymond is the fact that he's going to intimidate and really put fear into the heart of his opponents, right? Which you got to love as Facts. A competitor, right? The fact that he's just a dog, right? Like if you're not built, you know, with toughness, he's going to break you on the basketball court, right? So that being said, it's a virtue of his. However, I think it's a prime example. Sometimes we got to keep our virtues in check. Otherwise, they become vices. And at this point, his virtue of being a tough, hard-nosed, good defender that, you know, puts his heart into the game, the way we as fans love, is gone too far. You know, in being a virtue, it's become obviously a big vice. I mean, even if we think about Jordan Poole, right, last season, right, in the video that dropped with him punching Jordan Poole in the face, sucker punching him, right, totally unacceptable. And at this point, is kind of like, it's kind of diminishing my respect for him, you know, as just a basketball fan.
Exactly. And to that point, I was making this point to Moose earlier. So when it comes to that veteran leadership, right? So his antics are the reasons why a guy like Jordan Poole is so comfortable saying like, hey, you're an expensive backpack for 30. You know what I'm saying? So Jordan Poole is not going around disrespecting Curry like that, disrespecting Clay. He realized, especially because of your antics, why should I respect you? You don't respect the game. Right. If you respected the game, then I have all rights, but to reciprocate. Right. So for me, when it comes to that veteran leadership, I believe now Draymond, he is not a good leader. That's not leading by example. LeBron, how many times has LeBron, you know, LeBron is like one of the most physical dominant players in the league. I've yet to see LeBron rush at a player. I've yet to see LeBron put a player on a chokehold. How many missed calls of LeBron not received on the offensive end? Right. Of course, LeBron has his antics. You know, he's always complaining, but he's always has his emotions in check, and that's what separates the greats from your average Joes. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying Draymond's an average Joe, but when it comes to his emotions, levels to it. Yeah, but when it comes to his emotions, he's hurting his team in so many ways that he could ever fathom.
And how do you deal with this, guys, as a coach? Like if you're his coach, if you're in the shoes of Steve Kerr, like in Jordan Poole incident, he just looked super frustrated. Now again, it's almost like he's desensitized. That from what I can tell in the media, it's like when they ask him questions about it, he doesn't seem that like concerned about it, because he's just kind of like, Draymond's gonna be who he's gonna be. How do you address a player that's not willing to change or not willing to take the steps to change?
Exactly. So especially Draymond, he's built that character. Right. So this is my character, and then that's pretty much how he made his name in the NBA, right? So how can he go against the individual that he's created, right? So
yeah,
so it's tough. It's tough, especially as a coach. That you're trying to coach a team to the promised land, and you have a player who believes that he's smarter than every single person out there on the court. Right.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, that just goes to like kind of getting your ego in check, right? Like there's balance to everything. Like P was saying, you can use your antics to your advantage, but at the same time, like you can't let things go overboard. Like for example, in the playoffs, in 2 separate occurrences, that's what we saw. Stepping on Sabonis' chest, LeBron James kicking LeBron James in the groin. It's like that's not the time or the place to be doing that. Yeah, you shouldn't be doing that to anybody ever, really. So it just goes to show. He just needs to be smarter with his actions. Hopefully he's learned from this experience.
Yeah, 100%.
We're all still growing as humans in general. People are still growing on the basketball court. Even a 4-time champion and a player with high basketball IQ like Draymond Green, right? Yeah. But it's clear that his emotions just need to be, more in check.
Yeah, and one last point too, man. The Warriors are currently on a 4-game losing streak. And now losing Draymond. Now how much longer is this losing streak going to ride for? Right, because and to that point is like, how can this team now build momentum with one of the pieces that is extremely valuable to both their offense and defense being out for 5 games, and now once he's back, building that fluidity and that consistency with the offense and defense, how fast are they going to be able to have that cohesiveness to just to get the wheels rolling again?
Yeah, definitely. Right? So he's a big part of their offense.
So it's a tough place for everyone to be in. Steph, Clay, Kerr, and Draymond.
And to be honest with you, like obviously it's easy to commentate on things 2020 in hindsight, not being in the action. But I feel like a man of composure, a man with good self-control in that situation, a good teammate, truly, would have acted in a way that wouldn't have instigated the fight to a higher level. Like it wasn't even as serious until he put him in a chokehold. If he could have just walked in and maybe somehow we've seen a lot of almost fights kind of break out, where a player will like a dude like Steven Adams will kind of come through and just push people aside and use his strength not to instigate things but to separate, right?
For sure.
And I feel like that would have definitely been the right call for 100%. A veteran, for an older player that's supposed to be a leader. So
yeah, you guys are absolutely right about that. So moving on to another team in the West, we spoke about them, I believe, on both previous podcasts. The LA Clippers, but this time it's a little bit kind of in a positive light. So Russell Westbrook requests a bench role. He wants the Clippers starting unit to gain chemistry. So guys, your thoughts on that?
I love it. Especially at this point in time in Westbrook's career. He's not the same player that he once was, right? So especially with the addition of James Harden, I believe now it makes sense for him to come off the bench. I mean, we were having a discussion. One thing that the Clippers need to do is have Westbrook come off the bench, right? Because now he's able to properly orchestrate that second unit, right? Because James Harden is a ball dominant player, right? Westbrook's a ball dominant player, and Paul George as well as Kawhi Leonard. They're all ball dominant, right? So you can have 4 out of your 5 starters being extremely ball dominant, right? So it makes sense for Westbrook to come off the bench or on that second unit because now he's gonna have the ball in his hand. He's an amazing playmaker, right? And right now the Clippers need to find something. Something's not working, right? So this is something that at least he's willing to look in the mirror and look at that man, the man that he's seen in the mirror, and say, hey, you know what? Let me put my ego in check. This is for the greater things for the team, and I believe that this is what the team needs.
Absolutely.
So I give props to Westbrook. Harden would have never said that because he still thinks he's Harden from 2016, 2017. You know what I'm saying? So it's
MVP Harden.
100%. So it's I definitely give props to Westbrook for taking that step. Right?
Yeah, for sure. P, how do you feel?
Yeah, I definitely agree with Durrel. I mean, absolutely to be, such a legendary Hall of Fame player like Russell Westbrook. I mean, absolute legend, this guy, right?
Yep.
So for him to humble down and put the needs of his team above the needs of himself, I think it speaks a lot of volume. You know, I mean, you could do a lot of, you know, chatter and talking and whatever, but there's certain actions that you do as a man and as a player on the team that speak volumes, man, magnitude, right? So him making the conscious decision to put his ego down and to put his team first is him really showing everyone, like, this is how we got to buy into this team. This is how we got to buy into each other. Right, and Kawhi addressed it, and he said, "Man, if he's willing to do this, like, we all got to step our stuff up, right? Like, it's and that's the type of dude that Westbrook has always kind of been, you know, going hard for, like, rebounds, diving, doing everything to put his team in a winning position. I don't think you know, there's ever been any doubt to his heart. He has a very high level of heart, right? And at times his ego kind of overshadowed it, but I think, you know, it's come to the point where he's evolved to, you know, keeping his ego in check and putting his heart at the forefront.
Yeah, 100%.
And that being said, man, like, I'm really excited to kind of see him come off the bench and, you know, orchestrate that elite offense that we know he's gonna orchestrate. So, yeah, you know, it's a great move.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you guys hit the nail on the head for sure. I mean, listen, right? Russ was a 2016-2017 MVP, which wasn't all that long ago, right? He's the league's leader in triple doubles all time. He took the title from the Big O and made it his, right? Mr. Triple Double.
Yeah.
That now belongs to Russell Westbrook. 2-time scoring champ, member of the NBA 75th anniversary team. All things that you guys touched on, the accolades, you know, the Hall of Fame career, right? I could keep going on the accolades too. It's just like it never stops. So Russ has shown so much maturity to go ahead and decide to take a step back to allow the starters to build a sense of cohesion and chemistry, and to turn this and to allow the team to grow in the right direction. This is truly how an aging, quote unquote, if you want to call him that, right, superstar shows real maturity. And Durrel, like I said, spot on takes. Like, I couldn't be more proud of Russ just for opting to, hey, this doesn't work. This doesn't seem to be working. Let me decide to take the back seat here to opt for the growth of the team.
Yeah, 1%. And to that point too, man. So that's what champions are made of. You know, champions make sacrifice.
Yeah.
You know, like, of course, does he still want the spotlight? Damn right. But guess what? You winning a championship, that's going to solidify your career, right?
It's the only thing he doesn't have.
If Westbrook wins the championship, what does that mean to his legacy? It means everything to his legacy. Like to with all the accolades, Mr. Triple Double, for him to average 10 rebounds as a 6'3" guard, dude, that's unheard of.
Yeah,
right?
Going back to what P says about you can't question his heart.
You can't question his heart, man. So to that point, so I think Russ does see the bigger picture. The picture is we're all in. We have arguably one of the best players in the league in Kawhi Leonard, and arguably one of the greatest shot creators in the league as well in Paul George. And this team is filled with superstar talent, but obviously aging superstar talent. So right now, this is one of his greatest opportunities to get to the promised land. So so the best thing for him to do is make that sacrifice.
This is kind of like, I think, one of the crucial turning points for any championship team or potential championship team is when you see a leader that opts in and buys in and sacrifices something that is dear to him to show the team their commitment to the bigger prize, to the bigger goal. And man, like it's just one of those electrifying sort of moments. I mean, who knows in the playoffs, in the, you know, if they make it far, you know, to the finals or something like that, who knows? Chances are he'll probably be starting, right? There's a good chance. Yeah. But at this point, this is a pivotal moment to show his colors. Like, man, like, I don't really care, you know, if I'm the last guy off the bench. You know, I just want this team to win. If coach thinks that's the right move, I'm all with it.
Yeah, it's all about leading by example, right? So to the previous individual that we just mentioned in the previous topic there, Draymond, those are two different leaders right there. Russ is leading by example. This is what a true leader does to help a team win, right? So I do not want to beat the dead horse, but Draymond, he was doing the complete opposite to help his team win, right? So, and help his team be successful. So Westbrook, this is an amazing step, even for the young players that he has on his team, to like, hey man, when it comes to winning is all about sacrifice, right? Of course, you want to go out there and average 20, average, you know, get your double doubles and so on and so forth, but for you to win, it comes at a sacrifice, right? So if you look at all championship teams, Chris Bosh in those Miami Heat run, right? When Bosh was in Toronto, he was the man, right? But he had to take a step back and realize, you know what? Brown has the keys. Wade is Robin, and you know what? I am pretty much the glue guy. I'm gonna do everything, get the rebound, which he did, the biggest rebound in his career, and then hoist it out to Ray Allen for the dagger.
Yep.
Right. So understanding your role and staying within your role and not trying to do anything that surpasses it. And I think Westbrook has gotten to that point, like, hey, it's time.
That's key.
It's
That's
time,
super key.
right?
Yeah, definitely. That's you guys hit the nail on the head once again with that. I mean, the overall, probably the biggest thing that I would say that we're touching on is just the maturity. Going from a Hall of Famer, you know, he knows he's a future Hall of Famer. He has so many accolades, over to now being or deciding to come into a bench role. I mean, that's got to take some level of mental fortitude to really sit with yourself and be like, hey, okay, maybe I'm not the player I once was. I really want our team to have to reach that championship aspiration in which they all joined to be able to do in the first place. Absolutely. You guys hit the nail on the head.
Dude, just imagine, man, Westbrook versus your bench squad.
Yeah.
That's a recipe for disaster for any bench. You know what I'm saying? It's like you have rookies. You have a rookie point guard now, guarding Russ. You have, you know, the second best guard on your team, guarding Westbrook, who is arguably still a really freaking good player.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So it's West is gonna be a problem again.
I think the biggest issue, honestly, talking about the Clippers, from what I've seen in the sample size of watching the games, is the fact that James Harden just lost a step, man. You know what I mean? When it comes to driving to the rim, he's just not as efficient. Or doesn't even attempt anywhere near what he used to attempt, you know, a few years ago in terms of like layups, dunks, something like that. So because of that, his 3-point shooting, the percentage is just going to suffer. Yeah. Because, you know, players are going to guard him a little bit more tight. They're not so afraid of him blowing by them the way he used to blow by them. So I think that's probably the biggest question in terms of the Clippers' success, is how Harden can kind of fit in even like an off-ball role, because Harden doesn't really set screens from what I can tell off-ball. And on top of that, he's not really doing much off-ball movement, right? And ultimately, defenders can kind of read the fact that he's not that much of a danger to blow by them. So it's going to be a lot tougher for him to hit, like, you know, the perimeter shots we're used to seeing him hit.
Exactly. Yeah, I think Westbrook come off the bench kind of will help Harden in that sense, right? 100%. So now, let's say example, they start a shooter. So now instead of, because when Westbrook is in the game, we all right now he's averaging 30% from downtown. Right. So now that, because let's say you subtract Harden, so you subtract Westbrook, you add in a shooter, you add in Norman Powell or whoever will be starting. Now you have a widespread offense. You can do like a 5 out, right? Which is what Harden thrives in, right? So you have Paul George. Harden can drive to the paint, push it out. Like, even if he doesn't make his way to the basket, Harden's still a threat to get to the paint and finish over top of the defense, right? And his vision, Harden has an all-time playmaking, because he led the league in assists last season. So we know that he can still, you know, he can still play make, right? So the fact that if he's able to have, you know, a wider space for him to orchestrate that offense, I believe that he will be somewhat more effective, right? So it kind of paid dividend last night. They did win last night against, I believe, the Rockets. So let's see if this is a positive sign moving forward, right? So
first win, First win in the Harden era.
First win. Yeah, I think it was
first win in the Harden system, bro.
Ironic enough that he beat the Rockets too, guys?
That's funny. I didn't even take that in, actually. For sure. So let's move on to the other team in LA, and let's talk about a player who many consider the GOAT, LeBron James. He's showing no signs of slowing down. Currently, he's averaging 25, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, 1.5 steals, and 1 block per game. Father Time is undefeated, but LeBron James has him in a chokehold right now. Draymond and Rudy Gobert, anyone? Okay. So, guys, how many more years of a productive LeBron James do we have ahead of us? Talk to me.
Right now, it's first of all, you just got to give him props to just the way that he's able to just take care of his body. You know what I mean? So it's if you just look at Anthony Davis, for example, he's not able to maintain good health for the entire season, right? So LeBron, just in terms of longevity, Father Time has been on the side. It looks like LeBron has paid Father Time a little funds there under the table. So obviously LeBron definitely wants to play with his sons, right? So either Bronny and or Bryce.
Imagine he makes it to Bryce. That'd be crazy.
That'd be crazy. So obviously, I think I would say three more years, and also just in terms of LeBron's longevity. So the NBA is still looking for that next phase, right? So is the NBA ready for LeBron to retire? So
that's a good point.
I think it all depends on when the NBA does find that next phase. That's when they can say, LeBron, it's time for you to hang up those sneakers. I think right now it's the NBA is still in LeBron's ears, like, hey man, we need you. The NBA needs LeBron. LeBron doesn't need the NBA, but the NBA does need LeBron, because once LeBron retires, who's next up? Is it Ant? Is it Wembanyama? Is it Jason Tatum? Who is it? Is it Luka? Right. So the NBA is an American sport, right? Well, it's a North American sport, so they need an American face to be in front of the NBA, right? So it's, I would say, at least like 3 more years, man. What is he right now? 38.
Carter about to be 39.
Yeah, about to be 39 in December. All right, so Vince Carter played till about 40, 41,
something like that.
Yeah, so it's I say he's still looking good. But he needs some help though. Right now he's averaging 25. Anthony Davis, I don't know if you guys have seen his stats within the last 3 games. He's averaging approximately 17 points. That cannot happen. LeBron James at this point in his career should not be leading the Lakers in points. This should be Anthony Davis' team, and LeBron should be, playing back. It should be playing Robin at this time of his career, man. LeBron's way too damn old to be Batman.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So Anthony Davis, he got to pick it up. There was the game against Sacramento a couple of days ago. So Bonus finished the game, I believe, with 29 points, almost 30 points, and Anthony Davis finished the game with 9 stinking points.
Unacceptable, man.
Anthony Davis, what are you doing out there, bro?
Right.
Why? How is it that LeBron, I believe against that game, let me just pull up the stats here. I think he had over 30 points, and Davis finished the game with 9 points. LeBron needs help.
He's doing some cardio there. He's doing some cardio, just running some laps.
Yeah, man. I think LeBron, God willing, 3 more years under his belt. So hopefully, I do want to see him play with his son. One of his sons, actually, which would be an amazing sight to see.
That'd be really cool to see. Absolutely. How you feel about it, P? How you feel about Braun's longevity?
Man, his longevity, it's two-sided. It's two-sided. On one side, definitely, he's deserving of the health that he's put a lot of care and time and effort into his body, into diet, into off-season maintenance. Yeah, right? Like he's really probably just been on the highest level of professional possible in terms of taking care of his body. Obviously he has insane natural talent. We all know this, right? He's gifted, very gifted. But to actually harness and tone and make sure that gift is protected and enhanced for as long as possible, it means that you're aware of the privilege that you have naturally. So I don't think I don't think at any point in time he's taking that privilege for granted. 100%. Clearly, based on the results. On the other hand, I also think there is always an element of luck. When it comes to injury,
sure.
Sometimes small little thing, boom, a tweak, it can happen. It's a basketball game, man. It's you're playing against a lot younger dudes, very talented, strong athletes, right? And things happen, man. As we see, unfortunate things happen. So there's 2 sides. I think he is deserving, obviously, of the longevity because of the care and attention that him and his team have, placed in terms of his health. But then there's also a degree of luck and, good chance, good fortune, however you might want to consider it. I don't know the exact balance of those two, but I know both of those things are contributing to the fact that he's had such a long and great career. From a fan standpoint and seeing how he plays on the court, he kind of has a pretty polished game skill set, right? I see him chucking up a lot more threes now at this point in his career, obviously, because again, he's just not going to be as fast as he was in the Cleveland days or the Miami days. But for the most part, he kind of has a timeless game. Aside from missing sort of a post game, he doesn't have that much of a post game. But aside from that, He's a great playmaker, very high IQ. So he ideally, if luck and chance go his way as they have for so long, I mean, really, it's anyone's guess. You know, Durrel has a good guess with 3 years, but who the hell knows? Because
nobody truly knows, man.
Because he's really not slowing down.
Yeah,
and it's amazing to see. But I guess my one concern is how is he going to hold up again with not having much star power around him in the playoffs after 82 game season.
Yeah, to Pete's point there, man. LeBron within the last 4 games, he's averaging over 35 minutes a game, right? So that those minutes definitely needs to come down a little bit, right? So especially at his age, that's bro. I don't think in the history of the game you have a 38-year-old playing over 38 minutes a game, right? So especially like I said, that Lakers team have zero help for LeBron. You know, Anthony Davis, who we thought would have been that help, is not doing his thing. D'Angelo Russell, he's a shell of himself. Austin Reeves, he's one of the most overhyped players in the league.
Whoa, he's nice.
He's overhyped.
Reeves
he's
is
overhyped.
nice.
Come on.
It's early in the season. Let's realize it's still early. These guys might step up. You know, I'm thinking even Rui Hachimura, man. I'd love to see that guy step up.
He's balling. He's average. He's currently 40% from downtown.
Right.
Which is solid, but
he spent the whole summer too with LeBron, man, to improve that chemistry with him, right? Yeah. So again, another dude making sacrifices. But
I think the Lakers got some pieces. Gabe Vincent as well. You know, D'Lo. I don't think AD's been playing that bad, but the problem with AD, my problem with AD currently is you don't know which version of AD you're gonna get. Right. You could get like 30 points, 14 boards, X amount of assists. Like 5, 6, 7 assists, whatever it is. And then you could get, a different version of AD the next night. So the thing is like the consistency has to be there for LeBron to really take that step back as like the second option, so to speak. Durrel, like you're saying, he can't be like the number one option at this point in his career. But in terms of how many more productive LeBron James years do we have ahead of us, I'd say, like P was saying, right, barring any major injury, I'd say about like 1 or 2 at least. Right, because we've seen, like you guys are saying, the good fortune in regards to his health. We've seen, how he takes care of his body. Over 7 figures a year he invests into it. When you talk about a player who's been relatively injury-free and who's had essentially 20-plus years now of elite play, I mean, you got to tip your hat to Bron. Like, he's been 19 times All-NBA. Wow. That's insane. Not 19 times. Like I was a little boy, and man was all NBA. Yes, wow. You feel what I'm saying? Yeah. He's just been elite for so long, and it's a beautiful thing to see. That was a great point, Durrel. That you mentioned about maybe the NBA needing Bron more than Bron needs the NBA. Mm-hmm. I didn't actually take that in because if you think about the face of the league right now, who would they transition to? You want to say the best player, who's the Joker. But he doesn't have the personality. No, he doesn't. He doesn't have the charisma. He doesn't have the swagger, the athleticism, that kind of that pretty part to his game that maybe like a Curry does, like a Bron does. Bron with maybe his dominance is able to drive to the basket and cram on people. Or Curry's, just those effortless turnaround from the logo type of shots, right? So, yeah, that's a great point. I didn't actually think about it. Like, are they ready to transition? And, how about Luka Doncic? You guys think that's somebody that the league is kind of angling? He's an international star more so, but do you think Luka would be that player that maybe they kind of focus? You don't think so?
I believe it has to be
an American player.
Yeah, someone who is marketable within the American market.
To be honest with you, I think the way the league is going would be a smart move from a marketing standpoint. Would be to realize, okay, there is no replicating LeBron. There is no giving the torch from LeBron the way it was given from Jordan to LeBron to another player. So what we're going to do, we're going to give the torch to a committee. Instead of having one superstar guy like LeBron that, like you said, the league needs him more than he needs them, right? Mm-hmm. So instead of having that situation reoccur in 10 years from now, let's just give it to a committee of dudes. Yeah. Let's give it to all the guys that you just mentioned equally to some degree and sell them, sell the version of them, obviously, that the fans want to see, the hype, the larger than life personalities that these guys have. Yeah. So I think the best move would be to, and even as basketball fans, because everyone has their own thing in basketball that they like, whether it's rebounding, defense, shooting,
Yeah.
playmaking. So I personally, I would love to see it transition to something of a committee.
Yep. No, I completely agree with that. Obviously, especially now the NBA is so flooded with talent, right? So obviously, yeah, especially with the talent from overseas, the homegrown talent as well. But another aspect of the NBA is the narratives. The NBA is since the Jordan era. Even since the Magic, it was like obviously the Magic and Bird era. It was the Jordan versus the bad boy Pistons. You know, it's all about the narratives. Also the Kobe Bryant, as well. So it was like the Kobe and there was like the narrative that you wanted Kobe and LeBron in the finals. There was always that narrative, right? So now obviously right now it's LeBron James and Steph, LeBron KD, right? It's all about the narratives. So what is the next narrative? So we just need a guy like a Luka to win a championship, and then the narrative is going to start, right? So we need a guy like Jason Tatum to win a championship, so the narrative can start brewing. So right now, like Jokic, the narrative is on his court, but to you guys' point, Jokic doesn't have that charisma to, obviously during the offseason, my guys out here, betting on horses, right? So the NBA just loves these narratives. We have us as NBA fans, we have been so spoiled, from I was in watching the Magic era, but from the Magic era, you got as soon as the Magic era ended, we transitioned over to Jordan. When the Jordan ended, guess what? We transitioned over to Kobe, and then during the Kobe era, we also got Wade, Braun, and then now during the Braun era we slowly transitioned into Curry. But then after Braun, who is it? Who is going to take the reins to be that face, that face? It should be Giannis, but once again, Giannis is not in terms of being out in the media. He's not that guy. So it's tough. But obviously it's an international sport now, so it's. To Pete's point, let's do by committee.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's definitely tough to pinpoint who it would be. I think committee is a great idea. But you know what, too? There's Durrel, like you said, there's a ton of great young talent in this league, like sort of that we've never seen before, like these many high-level young players. So you never know. Like there might be one guy that comes through and really sticks out, has the charisma, has the swagger. Maybe somebody that's not even in the league yet.
I have a guess. I have a guess who could be, man.
Who do you got?
So too.
Scotty Barnes, bro.
Scotty
damn
Barnes.
Barnes.
I pray that's the truth.
I mean, that'd be amazing.
Or Ant.
Yeah,
I think Ant has a real shot at, because he already has it. You name it, man. Athleticism, he already has it. Charisma, he already has a charisma. 110%. Skill set, he has a skill set. Drive and that determination to win, he has it. So even right now, that Minnesota team, they are playing extremely well. They were once on a 7-game winning streak, and how composed he was when Draymond was talking trash to him throughout that game and still dropped 30 piece on Draymond's
he's a
head.
baller.
You know what I'm saying? I think Ant definitely has that shot at being the next face. But hopefully something that we all wish he attains, that LeBron had, is that longevity. Right? That longevity and that consistency. Because LeBron, since his rookie season up until this point in his career, has been consistent. Like Moose said, 19 times all time. I saw 19 times all NBA. That's come on.
I don't think it's ever going to be replicated, to be honest with you. It's a shot in hell that it even happened once for a player that great. To expect that I mean, it's something totally unexpected, unprecedented. So
yeah, definitely. I mean, all this talk of young stars, young potential faces of the league. We mentioned Luka, we mentioned Tatum, we mentioned the Joker, maybe not quite being that guy. Let's talk about another star, maybe not quite a face of the league, but a star nonetheless, very high volume scorer, Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine and the Chicago Bulls are breaking up finally. The DeRozan, LaVine, Vooch, Bulls. I think it's kind of crumbling down now. They came to a mutual understanding to part ways, as it's clear this Chicago Bulls experiment has been less than desired. Which team would benefit most from Zach's services as an offensive juggernaut? Talk to me.
Golden State Warriors.
Because
right now Klay Thompson is a shell of himself. Klay literally cannot do anything with that basketball. Right, so he cannot create shot for himself in terms of his legs. His legs are not there in terms of shooting. I believe right now he shoots approximately 34.5% from downtown. So the Golden State Warriors they definitely need that additional help there offensively, right? So Zach LaVine is an offensive juggernaut, right? So if the Golden State Warriors are able to put a package around, let's say Clay, who they may have to give up a young asset like a Kuminga, and obviously some draft assets, right? So I think the Warriors definitely will benefit from a Zach LaVine addition to their current roster. Just imagine you got you got Steph, LaVine, Wiggs, as well as Dre, and who's I believe Saric is their starting five right now.
they got
right.
Saric,
So that's
Kevon Looney. Yeah.
Kevon Looney. That's a pretty solid roster in the West, right? So I definitely believe that the Warriors currently would thrive with that addition.
That's an interesting take. I definitely didn't expect that, but I guess it sort of makes sense. Yeah, that'd be a really high-powered, offense in general. So shouts out to you, man. That's a great take. I would have never pictured. I was going a totally different direction. I was thinking Memphis Grizzlies because I feel like they're lacking a little bit of a little bit of fire, a little bit of jazz to their offense. So I was thinking more in that direction. I would love to just see. Two
high flyers.
Yeah, man, on the same teams together, like Ja and LaVine, like just
in-game dunk contest all day.
Yeah. It'd be crazy, but also like I think it would help a lot with Ja's development, learning from a dude like Zach LaVine. Obviously, maybe it's not a team necessarily in championship contention, but they could probably trade away some pieces and make it worth it for the Bulls for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And then also to that point, the Warriors right now, with Steph Curry, right? He started the season extremely hot, right? But then those defenses starting owning it on Steph because he has no help.
Right.
He has no help out there. Obviously, Wiggins is dog water right now in terms of his shooting percentages. I believe the last time I saw his statistics, he was shooting 16% from three, which is well below his average ever since he's been a part of that. Warriors offense, and so I think that would just alleviate some stress from Steph, just having another for sure bucket getter.
Yeah.
Right. And to your point, if he was in Memphis, bro, that would be a beautiful thing to see, man. Whew. Just imagine Desmond Bain on fast break. You have Ja Morant on one side, on the left wing. You have Zach LaVine on the right wing. Like, I'll be conflicted, bro. Who the hell do I throw it up to?
Elliott, and then it's a alley dunk, bro.
Jeez, double alley, man. Damn, that'll be beautiful to see.
Crazy
dude.
magic.
Yeah,
that makes sense. My concern with the Memphis thing is I don't really know if Zach LaVine aligns with their culture. Kind of similar to how I view the Toronto Raptors, who is also like a name mentioned here for kind of being in the mix for Zach LaVine. It's just like he can't defend. You know what I mean? So that's my only concern with that. And then with the Warriors thing too, I like that they are missing some offensive firepower. Like you said, Clay's kind of regressed a little bit here. Let's just be honest.
The washed goat.
But I feel like there's a little bit of redundance between Wiggins and LaVine, because I feel like Wiggins eventually will come around. He had a tough end, or like I guess mid to the end of last season with like personal issues and stuff like that. I feel like he'll come around, and he was an integral part to that organization. I mean, whoever lands Zach LaVine, they're getting a guy who can give you 40. So I don't think any of those are wrong takes for sure. My pick personally, I had the Miami Heat. I think they could truly benefit from having another high-level scorer on the roster. They look good. And the emergence of Jaime Jaquez, right? Great rookie. Has been great for them.
Beautiful guy, man.
Yeah.
I love his game.
Yeah, that hair is crazy too. That hair is crazy too. I just don't think the Heat have enough to go up against like those three juggernauts that we all mentioned.
That's what I thought last season as well.
76ers, Bucks, Celtics, that we mentioned last pod. Yep. I don't know if they have enough, but I feel like Zach could somewhat hide on defense, like amongst guys like Jimmy Butler. Like he's never played with a defensive player of the year candidate type wing. Like DeMar DeRozan, wasn't that guy. Like he's just not a defender. Let's just be honest here. Bam Adebayo, right? Defensive player of the year level defender. Like again, Josh Richardson, who's, shout out to him getting back onto the Heat. That's kind of cool. Even Kyle Lowry, like he may not be the defender he once was, but he's still pesky, right? Scrappy. We know as Toronto fans, like he always had a knack for taking charges too, right?
For sure.
So I think he would be a pretty good fit there. Jimmy and Kyle also aren't getting any younger, so I don't really think the Heat have like a very long window to kind of make that next move to acquire like a next star in order to make this thing work. Because how many more of these Jimmy Butler championship level runs does he have in him? I mean, he's already 34, 35 years old. So that's also a concern to me. But I thought Miami could definitely use eye level.
Yeah, 1%. 1%.
That's a great take.
Yeah, especially now we all know about Heat culture. You know, so it doesn't matter who's suiting up under a Pat Riley roster. We all know that you're gonna come in and you're gonna give us effort, right? So I do believe that if that trade does happen, if Zach LaVine does suit up as a Miami Heat player, dude, I believe that he's gonna give you some effort defensively. Because come on, he has all the tangibles, man. He has all. Come on, man. He like athleticism, he got it. Foot speed, he got it. So defense is all about effort.
It's heart though, man. Defense is, you can't measure someone's heart the way you can measure someone's strength, 100%,
right? 100%, man.
But you have to really want it. Like, and I think what Jimmy has, man, is contagious. Jimmy Butler, his willingness, man, to just will himself and his team to making the plays that they probably normally wouldn't make on another team. It might be contagious, and if Zach LaVine would ever 100%. End up in that situation, he could probably definitely step up his defensive ability.
The weakest link is only as strong as your strongest link, right? So obviously, if Jimmy Butler, who is your head, is going at it full throttle at all times, dude, like the last man on the bench when he gets in the game, he better be doing exactly what Jimmy Butler is doing.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like you better give as much effort as the best player in your squad, right? So and that's the difference once again with championship caliber squads and just the pretenders. Like you have your star players who are willing to lay everything on the line, right? So especially that 2019 run that Raptors had, right? You had Kawhi Leonard laying everything on the line against Giannis, against Ben Simmons, against KD prior to his injury. You know what I mean? When your star player is 100% invested, dude, everyone else is going to give in. Everyone else is going to buy in. I believe Zach LaVine, once again, that hit culture, he would buy in, because Pat Riley's not going to sit around and say, oh, by the way, not because you can give me 40 means you can slack off for defense. Not defense.
He won't have that.
Nah, hell no. It's all about effort. Like prime example, Gary Trent before he got to the Raptors, right? He wasn't known for being a pesky defender. He wasn't known for his deflections. He wasn't known for steals. But when he got on the Raptors, once again, Raptors culture is about, hey, it's defense first, and then everything else will follow, right? So he got on the Raptors, led the league, and I think he was like top 3 in league in deflections and also top 3 in steals, right? So I believe Zach LaVine, once again, he has all the tools, man. It's all about going out there and saying like, hey, man, this is it. Westbrook, it's all about effort. 6'3" guard, averaging 10 rebounds. Come on. Like, same thing once again. I'll even go a little bit further. Ausar Thompson, a rookie, who is averaging 10+ rebounds. He was also top, I believe he's like top 10 in the league in blocks. It's all about effort. You know, I'm saying Zach LaVine, he has it, man.
And I think you spoke earlier about role, right? How important a role is within an organization, within a team, whether it's basketball or even, work, whatever you do. Being a part of a team is really important to understand your role. And I think maybe that's part of the friction that caused, the Bulls to start kind of tearing away at the seams, is because even when DeRozan got to that team, it was unknown really the role of who's the number one. You know what I mean? I mean, as much so for us as fans, but probably within the locker room as well. Like, is it LaVine's team? Is it DeMar's team? So forth, back and forth to the point where let's say if he was in a situation like Miami, or Golden State, or even Memphis for that matter, any of those teams, it would be obvious what role Zach would be in, that he's not the number one guy.
100%. Yeah, that's absolutely true. So now that we're talking a little bit about the Heat, let's go ahead and transition into this next question I had for you guys. So are the Miami Heat, as currently constructed, truly deep enough to stay within the top 4 seeds in the East? I believe they're number 4 right now, and make another strong playoff run this year.
100%. I believe like I said earlier, I believe it was like in our first podcast. The East does not scare me. The East is either it's Boston, it's Milwaukee, and everybody else.
Philly.
Philly and everybody else. Right. Once again, you cannot count hate culture out. Hate culture is a real thing. Last year, them sweeping the number 1 seed and riding Jimmy Butler to the finals. Bro, Moose said it. Bam Adebayo is a DPOY candidate, right? Jimmy Butler as well. He's a high-level defensive player, as well as you have a pesky guard in Larry. Of course, he's not the same player that he once was, but when it comes to defense, he gives you that effort, right? And also Duncan. Duncan is he's found his stroke again. You know what I'm saying? He's starting to hit those shots from downtown. Of course, that rookie freak, what is his name? Alvarez?
For the Heat?
Yeah.
Jaime Jaquez.
Jaime Jaquez. Pardon me.
The man with the hair.
He's extremely polished for a rookie. Right. So once again, hate culture is thriving. You cannot count him out. Bam is looking good. Jimmy Butler's looking good. And also Heat. Man, they just have that it factor, man.
Yeah, I think definitely the coaching as well.
Coaching,
man.
Coach Spo, yeah.
I mean, he just knows how to bring the best out of people. You know, we saw a guy like Max Strus come in, basically 100%. Virtually unknown. No one really knew that guy. Came in, did great work, right, and then got a nice contract. So getting all these kind of random, fly by night type of dudes coming up undrafted and finding a great role. Because of the system, the organization, the coaching, the pieces put together. But Moose, to your question, where they'll end up, I don't think they'll be fourth.
Okay.
But I think regardless of any position, as long as they're within playoff contention, I mean, they went from a play-in seed last season and went to the finals, so they're always going to be a threat to go a lot further than we can ever expect them to.
Yeah, and also when it comes to Jimmy Butler, he always turns it up.
For sure.
Towards the end of the season. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, definitely. Once again, the East is so wide open. I believe they may finish top four. It all depends on how well Philly just keep on riding out Joel Embiid and Max's coattail.
Yeah.
And because I know for a fact Milwaukee and Boston, that's 1 and 2, and then 3 and 4, that's up in the air between Philly and Miami. Yeah, so that's a good take there, P.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, will they land in the top 4 seeds in the East? I mean, Durrel, I kind of agree with you in that regard. I don't, the East is wide open, so I would say there's a possibility. They still are a really good team, but to me, they just have too many glaring weaknesses to make like another strong playoff run. Like in my personal opinion, Kyle Lowry is 1 year older. Jimmy Butler, I'm not gonna say he's 1 year older. I'm not gonna use that card just yet, but I don't know. Does he have that in him again? And does he have that supporting cast around him? Like Jaime Jaquez has been playing like a pretty big role for them so far, and he's just a rookie. I don't know if I necessarily trust a rookie in the playoffs. I don't know if I necessarily trust Hero that much in the playoffs. I love what Hero's game, but defensively, he's also a liability. When you talk about a guy like Strus and Vincent, who they lost last year, those guys were pesky defenders. They might not have been the greatest one-on-one defenders, but they were veterans in this league that knew their role, and they knew how to be disruptive and to make those winning plays. You know what I mean? So I don't know if they have like another Cinderella coming out of them again this year. I'm a little bit concerned unless they make a move. Like I said, the timeline of Jimmy and Kyle, they got to make some type of move.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? I don't know if Jimmy could really will the Heat all the way to the finals again. Yeah, it would absolutely be a sight to see.
Yeah, but the thing is, if they want to acquire a talent like as Levine, who is Pat Riley willing to give up? Because remember Trey talks about Dame. Guy was not willing to give up a Hero. Because a Hero would definitely need to be in that package, right? So do they have the assets to acquire that talent? Do they? That's the thing. Do they have do they have the assets to acquire the talent that they truly need?
Supply and demand. Supply and demand. I mean, we're gonna see, trade deadline and ups and downs. But even a dude like Duncan Robinson, like you said, he's kind of found his flow again.
Mm-hmm.
He's driving to the basket a little bit more this season. So if certain players are on a high, where their value is getting overvalued to a degree, who knows?
Yeah. Who knows? That's the thing. Let's move on to some rookies. Actually, let's just highlight one rookie. The rookie that everyone's talking about right now that's not Chet or Wemby. Ausar Thompson. Durrel. I know you mentioned him.
Yeah.
You said he was top 10 in blocks? I didn't know that. You know where he's also top 10?
Come on.
Rebounds.
Wow.
Come on.
He's 6'7". He's a 3. Let me throw out a little tidbit here for you guys. 10 rebounds a game is currently more than Randall, Capella, Giannis, Towns, Braun, Bam Adebayo, and they're all taller than him, and they play either the power forward or center. Like I said, Ausar Thompson is a 3. Guys, talk to me a little bit about how you feel about Ausar Thompson.
I am thoroughly impressed with his game, right? So especially when you watch him defensively, he's just able to read and react and get and beat the offensive player to his spot. All right, so there was a game against the Thunder. Shea ain't no slouch offensively. Shea arguably is one of the best offensive players and shot creators in the game.
Easily.
All right, so
Absolutely.
in terms of getting to the paint, Shea led the league for the last couple of seasons of points in the paint for a guard. And just watching Ausar being able to contest and block and Shea Gilgeous-Alexander.
Yeah.
That was some beautiful things to see, especially as a rookie. His IQ defensively, that's obviously defense is 50% effort, and all of 50% is IQ. Being able to understand players' tendencies. You can tell he does his homework. So him being able to beat players to certain spots means like, hey, I'm watching game film, right? So I'm studying the game. So that shows that he's a student of the game. So and it's a beautiful thing to see. Also, when it comes to those blocks, those are some impressive freaking blocks, man. Flying off the help side, being able to spike that thing out, get that thing out of here. Also getting those rebounds. Once again, rebounds is it's all about effort and also understanding positioning. All right, so understanding where that ball is going to end up once it hits the rim. Right, so once again, he's studying the game. It's like I'll compare his game currently to the likes of Dennis Rodman. Right, Dennis Rodman was an undersized rebounder. You know, this guy, I think Dennis Rodman at one point in his career, there was a 2-game span. He had about 45 rebounds. Right, so Ausar Thompson has all the tools to lead the league in rebounds. Right, so if you just keep going in this trajectory, and athletically, dude, the guy's an athletic freak. Right, so there was a play. I can't remember who it was, but it was a missed shot offensively. He just rose up for the putback slam. I was like, wow, this kid is amazing. Right, so that was a really good pickup from the Pistons. But obviously, when it comes to rookie of the year, you know, it's the rookie that has the flashy game offensively. That's going to get the rookie of the year nods. But when it comes to a guy who is a defensive, I think right now he's an elite defender.
Already.
Right? Already. So early in his career, I believe he's only like 19, 20. And the fact that he's so intelligent defensively, being able to stay in front of his, being able to be in front of his defenders, and also still having, even when he's beat, being able to recover.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, not a lot of players have the ability to recover, like as fast as Ausar. Right, so I'm thoroughly impressed so far with his productivity. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, first off, I love that reference between Rodman and Ausar Thompson, both former Pistons. To tack onto what you're saying, it's all on the defensive side of the floor, right? This guy has an incredible feel for the defensive side of the floor. We knew this like from draft day, really. But it's almost like every single game we see him adding something new. Whether it's those deflections, right, reaching into the passing lanes, the on-ball defense has been super impressive to see. I don't know about you guys, but I've seen he also has like this certain feel and this certain way that he's able to recognize where the ball is coming off of the rim right, just a knack for that side of the game to grab those offensive defensive rebounds and to go up and just grab that thing. Like you said, 6'7", but like obviously that's very tall, but also the fact that he's just an athletic freak, right?
Dude,
he just jump out of the gym.
The guy's averaging more rebounds than Wembanyama.
And Wemby's what, 7'4"?
Yeah, so my guy's averaging 10.3 rebounds right now, man, which is 10th in the league.
Insane.
And then all the guys that are ahead of him, they're all 6'10 plus. You know, Evan Mobley, Nikola Vucevic, Joel Embiid, DeAndre Ayton, Mitchell Robinson, Anthony Davis, Gobert, Sabonis, Jokic. And then you have a 6'7" rookie.
Well,
dude, that's gorgeous, bro.
I think both of you guys are right, man. He's got heart, he's got IQ, he's got the intangibles, and ultimately he's been put in a position where he can shine on the things that is his foundation. You know, when you have a strong foundation, you can build, apartments on it. You can build condos on it.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
If you have a weak foundation, you can't build not even a house, not even one floor.
100%.
So the fact that he's being put in a position to shine at the gritty things that are underrated about basketball, it's only going to make him a better player, long term. So I agree with both of what you guys are really, kind of coming with, because this player, man, he's going to be really special.
Yeah, 100%.
And potentially even build into, if he can refine the offensive part of his game,
100%.
maybe like a Kawhi Leonard, 2.0.
Beautiful.
2.0 with even better rebounding, perhaps.
100%.
All right, y'all. So we're going to go ahead and end it there. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Franchise Players Podcast, episode 3. Again, joined by my guy, Durrel.
Yes, sir.
Joined by P as well.
Yep.
Really appreciate you guys. Go ahead and tap in on all streaming platforms. Go ahead and tap in on YouTube. Throw a like, comment, subscribe, show some love. You already know the deal.
Follow us on IG, Franchise Players Podcast.
Yes, sir.
And we're on TikTok, all streaming platforms. Let's get it.
Yep. All right, we out of here.
Peace.
Peace.
Blessings.